internet, and welcome to Bill Has Opinions, your can't miss Bill shit. That is our show, and I'm Laura Lavoie, and this is Bill Perkins.
Hey there.
Hey, and you might notice we're not in the same place tonight.
No, Did
you notice that, Bill?
I noticed it. It was weird. I drove all the way to your house and then wound up in a different room. No.
That's so odd. That's so odd.
Yeah.
No, we are not, because a snowstorm swept across North Carolina a couple days ago.
Yeah, we had some inclement weather, and my driveway is not yet thawed, and I drive a small rear-wheel drive sports car, which is not the best thing. Also, it's got 2 bald tires, so it's not really around. And I was worried that after I got out, then it's like we're in the course right now of it's like it's melting, but then as soon as nightfall comes, it freezes back over, and I didn't really want to have to drive out and drive back in and that nonsense, So I was like,
right,
stay
exactly.
home. We've gotten better internet since the last time we tried this, so I figure, we'll give this a shot.
Sure, it got a little choppy there for a second, so it might from time to time, but it is better than it has been before. So
yeah,
we'll take it. The snow is mostly it's mostly melted here, and our street was salted, but what hasn't melted definitely freezes once the sun goes down. So
now that our street, because I live a mile from the street, not a mile, but far enough away. Anyway, the street may have been salted and caramel. I think I'm not sure what flavors they were putting in, but then I don't know, but I was more worried about, like, there's just some places, there's some corners that remain dark all day. So even if it melts here and there, like there's some spots where it doesn't melt. And I was just, like I said, I don't have the car for that right now. So
right.
Easier just to avoid it. Although I will say this, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm glad we got some snow, because it's been like 3 years since we got a solid snow. Like we've had flurries or a light dusting, but we've not had a snow that stuck. So
right.
Everybody really enjoyed it for a minute. Now I think everybody's like, okay, now you can go away.
Exactly. Well, that is snow in the South, right? Like,
you got a good time, now go away.
We had maybe, I think, guess when it was all said and done, we had maybe about an inch. We built a tiny snowman. We walked to the park.
Yeah, we went out and did some sledding with the grandkids, and that was about the extent of wanting to mess around with it. Yeah.
Sure, exactly. Otherwise, we just watched football all weekend. So, but that was pretty much it.
Football. You guys didn't have a game though.
We did not, but we found out who we get to play next week. So
nice. Okay, so what's on the old docket?
We are playing the Washington Commanders.
Commanders, huh? That's a new team, right? I've never heard of them.
They are a new name for an old team. They used to have a racist slur as their name.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we're going to just call them the Commanders.
Okay. I like how they had 1 year where they were called the Washington football team.
Yeah, actually, I still prefer that. I still like to just call them like the Washingtons.
Yeah.
Because I do, but they're a good team, and it'll be a tough game, and we play at 8:00 Saturday night. So,
wow. Yeah, interesting. That's a college ball time.
It's a playoff time too. All right, but we do have some headlines to get into.
We didn't even talk about what we're drinking yet.
Oh, were we gonna? Well, here, let me.
We're both drinking the same thing, so I thought it was funny.
Oh, that's true. Let's do that.
All right.
Yeah, so unintentionally, because we are not in the same place.
We just happen to both have this at our house. So this is what we're both drinking.
Green Man Porter. Although I do have to say I also have an ESB. So
you bought a mixed Green Man
Now,
pack.
I bought 1 6-pack of ESB and I bought 1 6-pack of porter.
6-packs. Okay. I bought only a 6-pack of porter, which I'm finishing up. So,
although I do really like it because Green Man, some places you can get their 12-pack, which they call the multi-pack. And it has these 2 beers in it. So it's basically what I bought, except it's together, but I didn't have that option today.
Oh, is it just those 2?
Yeah, just those 2.
Okay.
Just their multi-pack.
The multi-pack. Gotcha. Okay.
I love it. All right, but since we are drinking the same thing and now we do have some headlines, let's get into those.
Okay.
All right, so you had mentioned we want to discuss this a little bit. I'm referring to it as MAGA versus tech bros, or MAGA versus tech billionaires, whichever you prefer.
However you like to call it. Yeah, it's like the whole, the funny thing that I kind of knew it was going to happen. I didn't expect it to start happening so soon, but
before even the inauguration, right? Yeah,
but so Trump doesn't have a long history of keeping friends aside from Giuliani. Most other people who used to be his friend are now his enemy.
Right.
It usually doesn't take long. And the combination of that plus the amount of egos in the room, I felt like this is going to happen. Like there's no way that this particular alliance is going to hold up for long. Right.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't expect so. Although, I don't know if there's any beef yet between Trump and Musk yet. It's just, I think the base, these 2 different bases are starting to fight. But there will be a thing,
Yeah, there will be. I do believe that at some point that will implode. But right now, the implosion that we're seeing
is a grassroots implosion.
Yeah,
that sounds like a good name for a Gen X like grunge folk band, right? The grassroots implosion.
It really is, actually. I like that a lot. We should. I have no talent in that department, so I cannot be
I think Mike Doty's next project should be called that.
But so the MAGA base, which of course. A lot of the reason that they rallied around Trump is they can be boiled down to racism, right? And their big issue, a lot of it was with immigration.
Right. I think it's a combination. It's a sort of a swill of, there's a lot of racism involved, but then there's also like this sort of like, down-homey populism shit too. That's just like, well, why don't you look out for the little guy, and they felt, this is like, and I understand the criticisms of the Democratic Party in that regard. They've basically kind of become a big business party, sort of. Not as much as Republicans, but enough to make people go, "What the heck," And they certainly like every third or fourth decision that they make is like, "What the like why are you doing that? That doesn't have anything to do with your base, But anyway, yeah. So I understand that. The whole, you're too busy looking out for Wall Street. Why don't you look out for Main Street kind of sentimentality?
Except the crazy part is that Donald Trump has never been that guy. Never once has he looked out for anyone other than Donald Trump.
Right. They're certainly myopic in thinking that there was going to be something different in that regard. But he managed to capture the zeitgeist anyway and make people think this is something he gave a shit about, And then now, like after the whole thing goes down, then he gives Elon Musk this job supposedly, which I still don't know if he's cleared for even, or like
right. Yeah, it could be a fake. It could be as fake a job as his cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I don't even know like that it could even happen if it was in the best of intentions, which the whole thing could just be a fucking bait and switch. The whole thing's just a dog and pony show most of the time anyway, right? So anyways, what I'm trying to say is so Musk wants to extend or keep these B1 visas,
Right.
because it basically allows you to have indentured servants to work for your tech company.
Right.
And that's the whole purpose is you get to bring people over from overseas. You make them work for your company for whatever you've agreed to. They can't negotiate. They can't whine about it. They just have to work 80 hours a week, take the pay you're given. If you have a complaint about it, I revoke your job. In this particular visa, if you don't have a job, you're out of the country. Like
Right.
the job brought you here, the job will kick you back out. You go back to India or whatever. And then we'll just bring another guy in who can do the same damn thing. And so it's a type of indentured servitude, really. And
Sure.
which is exactly the reason why I have warned anybody about the whole thing, like with the, hey, we're all moving to Mars. I'm like, I would not move to Mars if the person in charge of moving to Mars is a billionaire, because you're just going to wind up, listen, there's no slavery laws on Mars.
Right.
You're just going to wind up an indentured servant to the billionaire who sent you to Mars is all that's going to happen, So
Exactly.
Don't do that shit. Stay here.
And the H1B, HB1, whatever, the visas, they, like, Elon Musk have made a whole dog and pony show statement about, well, of course that big business and tech companies need to bring in people from outside the United States, because the United States is so uneducated that we can't produce the kind of employees we need. At the same time, the Republicans want to completely eliminate the Department of Education.
Right.
We can't have it both ways, my friends.
Well, he wishes we could have it both ways, which is to keep all of us stupid so that he can import indentured servants into the country to do what he wants.
Right.
Nothing.
Well, and so now the MAGA talking heads specifically are super angry about this, because half of the reason they voted like they did and half the reason they supported this situation was because of immigration.
Yeah.
And they don't want immigration to be like, they wanted every single person not born in the US and not white to be deported back to somewhere. Right.
Yeah. And he's talking, hey, no, immigrants are great as long as they're working for me for peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand why they would be upset. And this is my only problem I've ever had with immigration. Is the only problem with immigration to me is that it allows these situations where it can devalue the earning wage of the American worker. That's my only beef with it. However, I don't feel like migrant workers from Central America are a threat to that so much, because they don't do the kinds of jobs that we're vying for anyway.
Well, right. And if people are worried that we don't have enough people for jobs, if people are worried that our birth rates are lowering and all of these things, a path to immigration is what solves that. Mm-hmm. To give people an opportunity to, because if we're worried about the GDP and we need more people to work to fix that, to make that bigger, to make that better, safe and responsible immigration is one way to do it. And
yeah, and I'm not even saying, like, I don't really, aside from that particular argument that they're going to be brought in, for pennies on the dollar to do the bidding of some stupid tech bro. I'm not entirely against this particular type of visa either. You know what I mean? Like I definitely, I see the merit in it. There are places for it. I do feel like you have to prove that you can't find a single American worker who could have done that thing. And the larger picture also is that I think ultimately, as soon as they manage to make AI do the thing,
mm-hmm.
what they want it to do, then they're not going to need the immigrant worker either. They don't want to pay anybody to do anything ultimately.
Exactly.
But I think that's also very short-sighted, because, like, at some point, the capitalist has to understand if you don't have a working class, you don't have a consumer class either.
Well, exactly. Like,
so how are you going to continue to extract capital when there's no one to give you any money? Like, you can't sell Tesla trucks to nobody.
Exactly.
Like, there have to be people who are making a big enough wage to afford a Tesla truck.
Well, and I have, just speaking of AI, I have a love-hate relationship with it because I see the value in it. I actually use it for quite a number of things, but also my job is one of the things that is likely to be replaced by AI. Right. Although I'll tell you, I've seen a huge pendulum swing. Like AI gets good, and companies are like, oh no, we don't need writers right now because we're doing AI. But then they don't get views on their website. And they're like, oh wait, we need writers again. Yeah. So all year it's been back and forth.
Well, so it gets good, but then it gets same is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. It homogenizes very quickly. It gets better at what it's doing, but then what it's doing, you can almost read it and go, this sounds like an AI created it. Right. Same thing with the art. Any of this shit, you see it and you're like, this is AI, and I can tell it's AI because it's just such fucking lowest common denominator nonsense.
Exactly.
I mean, do I think an AI could write those fucking blurbs that are in front of recipes? Yeah, probably. Can it write country songs? 100%. But those already felt like they were being, run through some sort of algorithm. Like basically they just have a couple of talking points they have to get in there, and and then at that point, I mean, this is kind of highlighted actually in a song from way back in the 70s. The song "You Never Even Call Me by My Name" points out that the perfect country song has to mention mama and trains and dogs and trucks and all this shit.
Exactly.
They already knew the formula that far back. You know what I mean? Like somebody just had to get computers smart enough to feed it into them.
Mm-hmm.
But
exactly.
And I was telling you last week, this was off camera, but we were talking about like I got targeted on Spotify by a group. It was like, hey, check out this group. And I listened to one song and I was like, yeah, okay, let's see what else they got. And I started listening to it, and every song just sort of had this kind of uncanny weirdness to it. And I was like, what the hell? And then I went on Reddit and I was like, what's up with this band? And everybody was like, oh, it's AI. It's just a bunch of horse shit.
Exactly. Well, and here's the thing. If AI is going to be doing, like, first of all, it sucks that AI is doing the art, because that's the one thing everybody wants to do instead of working.
Fucking mine coal or something, damn it.
Exactly. But if you are going to get AI to do a lot more work, that's when we need a universal basic income, right? Because if I can't afford to, like you said, if there's no consumers, there's no capitalism.
Right. Why are we even putting a recipe on the internet? Like what, for other fucking bots to read?
Exactly.
And I even understand in the short term, because I made the prediction last week that I feel like by the end of the year that Facebook will just be bots talking to each other, right?
Right.
It's in the last week, it's increasingly that. Okay, but I see how in the short term that might make you a couple of dollars because you're going to get paid based on clicks or whatever the fuck. But but it won't work forever, because at some point the system will sort out all this is a bunch of bots chattering, and then there's no value, right? Like the bots don't create money. Like if anything, they're costing money now because it's electricity being used up for all these fucking bots to talk to each other.
Right. And they're not data mining anything anymore because there's nobody to data mine.
Exactly. It's just a bunch of bots yakking with each other. And what are they doing? They're just like arguing politics on the fucking internet.
Exactly.
This is creating nothing. And so, yeah, it's not sustainable in the long term, the same way that like continuing to impoverish the American worker is not sustainable, because it can only go so far before there's either a revolution where they overthrow and decapitate the billionaires,
right?
Or B, the billionaire no longer has a single red cent they can mine out of the poor person.
Exactly. So the bottom line is we're going to see what happens politically and socially over the next 4 years. And
it'll be entertaining to watch if it's not affecting you directly.
Yeah. Buckle in, though, because there's a lot about it that'll affect us directly.
Yeah, I'm sure. But anyway, so yeah, that's that. That's all I got to say about that particular thing right now. Right now. I'm sure there will be more. I'm not like Forrest Gump, and that's about all I got to say about that. No, I'll find things over the next week.
Right. Well, and before we transition into our second segment here, As always, we do want to remind people that we have merch for sale. So scan the code, buy some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of mining, the American worker for another red cent.
Exactly. Yeah, we're really Yeah. And then the entire year of 2024, we made $1.50. So, woo-hoo. And we've been doing this since 2020.
Yay, capitalism.
Yay. Yay. I think I mentioned, did I mention this on the show? Because I have, books on Amazon that I do absolutely no marketing for. They're just there. But I made $12 last year.
Oh, yeah?
$12.
Which books?
I have no idea.
Oh, it doesn't give you a rundown.
No, well, I'm sure that does somewhere, but for $12, I'm not sure.
You don't even look. You're just like, whatevs. Okay, $12. Yay! Does it just apply to your? Does it just go in your Amazon account and you just spend it next week on whatever shit you're buying anyway?
Well, yeah, no, it does get direct deposited into my account, but
okay.
And then I have to get I get the little 1099 from Amazon.
So it's almost more trouble than it's like. I feel like they should just give you like $12 of credit on Amazon, and you could just buy that plastic thing that you saw a TikTok about.
Exactly. All right, so let's get to our second segment. We've got a little bit to talk about with some of this. So, and in this case, we're talking local bullshit,
local drama.
Yeah,
because I don't know, like. It's funny because there used to, and I'm sure that I think my wife told me that particular, there's a forum on Facebook that I quit years ago that was basically local drama.
Mm-hmm.
I think it started out to be, I don't know what it started out to be. I think it was probably a local for sale site or something like that.
I think so. Yeah. Because it was one of the exchange networks of
right.
pages.
But it ultimately devolved into nothing but fucking local drama. Some bitch is fucking my husband or whatever, and I don't know.
Yeah, and
kind of horse shit, I got beef with this place. I walked in there and they were racist to me and, we should shut them down and all this kind of thing. Anyway, I think.
Well, and the moderators of that group are often on a power trip too, and they'll just ban people that they don't like.
Yeah. So that's part of the reason I quit it after a particular dramatic thing happened in town. The first thing I think was kind of warranted, but then they got on a power trip right after that and were like, what else can we shut down? They ran a business out of town because the guys who ran this coffee shop were misogynists who were I guess posting a bunch of things about sexual encounters on the internet or something like that.
Yeah, without the consent of the women involved. So they were naming and shaming, basically.
Yeah, and also just mad talking trash, So anyway, they got deservedly shut down. But then as soon as that was done, I think that particular forum was on a power trip. Like, hey, we accomplished this quickly. Who else can we fuck over? And I was like, oh, okay. Now you're being kind of, all right, we don't need to do this. You don't need to close down every restaurant in Asheville,
Well, right. Because again, they're, whether you agree with it or not, they're always like.
Well, there's two sides to a story also. So, I felt like, we kind of all got on board on that one. And then I was like, okay, maybe did we ever maybe we didn't, but I had to ask, did we ever react? Did we do this rashly? It was certainly out of due process, so anyway, but knowing that about Asheville, I should say, and Asheville drama,
right?
I can't believe this particular thing happened, because if you understand this particular bit about Asheville drama and the history of Asheville drama, you should know not to shit where you eat, right?
Yes.
And so that gets us to the topic we're about, which is apparently the local venue, Rabbit, which was a joint venture between the Orange Peel and the Asheville Brewing Company.
Right.
There was a bunch of legal proceedings in the last week or so where the Asheville Brewing Company basically shut out the Orange Peel out of their part of it, took it over, rebranded it, and also fired all the local staff apparently.
Yep.
To bring in, I don't know, scofflaws from elsewhere or something. I don't know the fuck.
Yeah, but my understanding is that they hired a promotion company, like the booking company, in a company out of Boston. So nobody in that organization is local. They're just booking the acts.
Right.
And I don't really know who they expect to work at the venue moving forward.
I don't know who they honestly expect to sell beer to going forward, because that's what I'm saying about the drama of local. If you shit the bed in Asheville, you don't know what a fucking local boycott looks like. That's the thing. Like this shit's gonna hurt hard. Like their head is gonna spin for the lack of fucking beer and pizza business they get.
Right. Well, and this particular company has been known for kind of trying stuff out. And like, for example, they had for a while, they opened a drive-through taco shop.
Yeah.
That was actually really good for a while.
For a minute.
And then it got really bad. And then they're just like, well, we're closing that.
They always throw, I get you. There's like the kind of people who throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, and they're constantly doing that.
And they've been trying to sell. Well, they've owned the staple, what locals call the Brew and View, which is, their pizza shop, but also has a movie theater. And they've been trying to sell that part of the business for over a year now, and nobody's bought it. Mm-hmm. So my understanding of the part of the Orange Peel versus Asheville Brewing drama is that Orange Peel was in the process of buying Asheville Brewing out for Rabbit Rabbit, because Asheville Brewing has some current cash flow issues. And then Asheville Brewing rebranded, like they changed. So my understanding is they changed their DBA, their doing business as name, to Ninja Brewing. And then used a loophole to dissolve the partnership with Orange Peel.
Right.
So now Orange Peel is suing Asheville Brewing / Ninja Brewing because that's some bullshit.
It is some bullshit. And I mean, I kind of want to take it with a grain of salt, because I'm like, I'm sure there's two sides to all this. And I don't love everything about the Orange Peel either. Like, I know some people who work there, and I could tell you some, I'm not going to say anything on camera, but I got some stories about some people who work at Orange Peel, and I mean in the management capacity. But that being said, I still think the whole thing stinks. And again, like I said, the biggest thing to me is that, I don't know, man, like I wouldn't go around making enemies in Asheville, because that shit does not work out for you in the long run. It never does. The town's got a long memory for such a small town, and people are fucking tight, and they will circle wagons, man. Like, I'm telling you, I give ABC a year to get their affairs in order, because they're going to sell zero beer, and nobody's ordering a pizza from there. I mean, it's going to be, hey, if I want pizza, I'll get it from Del Vecchio's,
Right. I will be. I love the Brew and View, and I like to go watch movies there. But frankly, I felt like we've been going to see movies there on borrowed time, because I knew that they were trying to sell that portion of the business.
Yeah.
So, and you never knew when that was going to happen. But as it turns out, it appears nobody wants to buy that portion of the business, because they want to sell it but still have control over it.
So it's the worst kind of deal, really.
Exactly.
Okay, they're basically like, you can take this over, and we want you to take over capital responsibility for it. And if it happens to make a dime, we'll take that. Thank you.
Well, yeah, and it does seem like, it's a situation of, we don't have the money to keep running this business, but we still want to run this business. So it's been, it's just, and apparently that was what was going on with Rabbit Rabbit too, because they were in the process of selling their half of the partnership to Orange Peel, but then instead, and they changed the name, which this is the part that gets me. They changed the name to the Asheville Yards Amphitheater. But for anyone who knows what Rabbit Rabbit is, and I enjoy going to concerts there, but it's a parking lot.
Yeah.
It's a parking lot. It is the amphitheater is a word that has a meaning. And it's not a parking lot.
It is. It's 100%. It used to be where the food trucks would park in town.
And before that, it was a bank parking lot.
There was a small bank with a drive-through teller there. But then when Wachovia decided they didn't want to operate that structure, I guess they bought it, and then it became like the food truck parking lot for a minute, and then now it's this concert venue, but it's still just a parking lot essentially with a stage at one end and some beer kiosks towards the back or something. You know, it works for what although it's weird because they have to have their concerts done by 11 because it's in the middle of fucking town and there's a noise ordinance and there's like apartments. Like it's stage right, there's apartments.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they want you to shut the fuck up.
Although if I owned those apartments, man, I'd be seeing every single show for free. Like I'd have friends over for parties.
Oh yeah. I remember when we went to see the Pixies, that there were people like on balconies.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, listening. They can't really see. You can't see the stage from those apartments because you're
because you're kind of behind it.
Yeah, but you can definitely hear it, and you know. But that being said, I thought it was funny because I mean, you guys all split early, but I stayed for the end of the show, and there was no fucking. They didn't go off. They didn't pull that fake encore bullshit. They played the encore, like, it must have been told, like, listen, we got to be done with this shit at a certain time. And so they got to the point where they would have done the whole fake encore thing, and they just, like, played 2 more songs and left. Like,
frankly, I don't mind that, and I like the shows there go early because I am old, and I don't want to be out late.
Till 4 a.m. either, but you know, I just saying it's kind of a weird situation in that there's no spontaneity because you know it has to wrap up by 11 on the fucking dot, right?
Right. So it'll be what I'm interested in seeing, first of all, how this plays out and exactly how it plays out in court and how all this goes down. And it could take a long time before that gets sorted out. Yeah. But in the meantime, another local venue that it was already, the location of it was already being imminent domain for a highway project.
Oh, yeah.
But then it also got destroyed by Hurricane Helene.
Right, because it's around the riverbank.
Right. But the people that own it had said, you know, we want to set up shop somewhere else. And I would not be surprised if Salvage Station and Orange Peel team up because I think that they could have, you know, people loved the Salvage Station.
That's true. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised by that. I think that would be an interesting move on the part of Orange Peel to partner with them instead.
Right.
They just have to find a venue for it. Yeah, it's like an actual location.
Which is the hard part because obviously you don't want to put it on the riverbank again.
Right.
and if not there, where, you know, like there's not like loads of, you know, you remember this was a thing about 6 months ago, but everybody was talking about like they should bring a Buc-ee's to Asheville, and I was like, where the fuck are they gonna find 7 acres of fucking flat land in Asheville to put some truck stop off the highway? Like, it's not gonna happen, folks. Right. Like that would be, it wouldn't be cost effective in the least.
So we do not need one in Asheville.
Also there's one. Like, yeah, fuck off. If you want to go to Buc-ee's, you can drive to one of the places where there is a Buc-ee's, you know?
Well, and one of them is near Pigeon Forge. Like, that's not that far, folks. If you just want to go to, like, from here, if you want to go to Buc-ee's as the destination,
yeah,
it's close.
I mean, yeah, close, but not as the crow. I mean, as the crow flies, but not for reals, because now it takes like.
Well, not now. Yeah, that's true. Now you cannot because there is no highway there.
You go around your elbow to get to your ass to get to it, but
that is honestly,
true. There's one east of here too, though.
There is, yeah.
That you can go to if you really want to go to fucking Buc-ee's, you know.
Right, and yeah, and yeah, I guess if you were really into like gas station fandom, but yeah, been to Buc-ee's a few times, and well, it's a really big gas station.
It's like Walmart and a fucking Love's got together, you know.
Yes, but all the merch is branded. Like,
yeah, it's fucking insane. Like, it's nuts to me, but I don't really see the hype either. It's like I went a couple times now. I will say the brisket sandwich, I'm not saying it's great. It's pretty good for a fucking gas station, you know.
Sure.
Like, I'll give it that, you know. And they do have 1,000 bathroom stalls, and they're all clean. I'll give them that, you know.
That they do, yes.
But here's the crazy part about it, though. They got 96 gas pumps, and every one of them's occupied
every single time.
I don't understand how that fucking happens. You have all the gas pumps in the world, and yet there's not a single empty gas pump.
Yeah, we have never gotten gas at a Buc-ee's. We've only parked and walked into the building because, but we've gotten gas like at a gas station right before it or a gas station right after it.
Yeah. No, the gas station down the street, the T&A across the street, or the Loves, or whatever the fuck is the next thing over, you know, has empty gas spots. But the Buc-ee's, in spite of having the most gas pumps you've ever seen in your life, none of them are open.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, we never make it to a half an hour. We always go over. But yeah, other than there was some snow and there's a disaster out in California that it has my absolute sympathy and all of my empathy and doing what I can. But I'll tell you what, I've got disaster anxiety, man. Like, after our disaster, I struggle seeing images on TV and hearing stories and all of that.
Yeah, I actually read something today that said the number of displaced people in LA equals the number of people who live in Asheville.
Yeah.
And then I read that the number of displaced people in Gaza triples that.
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to have some perspective on the whole thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, shit's bad all over the place. And yeah, so do what you can to help. If you want to donate to some things, maybe next week. Hold on, when next week? I'll remote in next week if you want to.
Oh, sure, yeah, we can talk about the options, but yeah, we can plan to be here next week.
All right, I'll be out of country next week, but we can do this thing remotely again, and in the meantime, I'll research some places to give money if you want to, you know.
That's a good idea. That's a very good idea.
We want to donate to some things. Yeah, because people all over the place have shit going on, man, and it's bad, and it creates this kind of empathy overwhelmment, kind of. If you're the kind of person who's empathetic, you know, I guess if you couldn't give a shit, it probably doesn't bother you, but
probably not, but yeah,
I'm sure you're fine, and you're on your 1,000 thread count sheets, but you know.
Exactly.
But for people who give a damn, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll work our, go to therapy, work our way through it, all that fun stuff. Yeah. But in the meantime, yes, let's call it a show. Why don't you take us away?
All righty then. Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are his alone, unless Laura agreed with him, in which case they agreed, and vice versa. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Hashtag can't miss Bill shit or opinion gang. If you have a question, comment, concern, idea for future show, or just want to shoot the shit, whatever, I don't care. Yeah. Tune in next week where I'll be coming to you remotely, ideally from Mexico.
From a much warmer place.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be different than this snow. And, and we'll talk about some other stuff that is pertinent to your interests. Or at least mine.
Or at least ours. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right. Awesome. Well, we will see you all soon. Bye, Bill. Bye, everybody.
All righty. Adios.